Have you ever spent lots of time practicing the same thing but never actually got better at it? I did. A couple of years ago I was trying to become a Joe Bonamassa clone, and I came to a very scientific conclusion that the only thing stopping me from playing like him was mastering his blazing pentatonic licks. It made sense at the time. It didn't matter that they were way outside my comfort zone, I was determined, and needless to say, a little naive. I practiced them like a maniac, slow, focused, every day for hours. But those last 30 BPMs, it was total mission impossible. Fast forward a bit and I had moved on from blues rock and wanted to become a fingerstyle player. So I made a new promise to myself. I will practice this Tommy Emmanuel song called Lateral until it's perfect. Nothing else, just this one song. And to be fair, I got pretty close. I could play it quite well. But no matter how many times I played it, I couldn't squeeze out that last 10%. It just wasn't there. These were two completely different situations, but both kept me stuck for a long time. Because I was falling for two myths. And if you are stuck right now, chances are you are falling for them too. So in this video I will show you what they are and more importantly, how to escape them. By the way, if you want to go deeper, I put together a free PDF called 8 Blockages Killing Your Guitar Progress, and there's a link below, you can grab it anytime. Myth number 1. So what actually went wrong with that Bonamassa lick? I was doing everything by the book, slow, focused reps, practicing daily and patiently. But the truth is, it wasn't how I practiced that failed me, it was what I chose to practice. That lick wasn't just difficult, it was miles ahead of where my technique was at the time. The speed and the precision required to play that lick cleanly at full tempo is just ridiculous. And that's where the first myth comes in. At the time I believed that practicing something hard will inevitably make you better. If you stick with it long enough, your skill will have no choice but to catch up, right? It sounded productive and it felt intense. And I loved the idea of being the underdog grinding his way to the top. I probably watched too many Rocky movies. But when the challenge is too far beyond your current level, you don't grow, you stall. It's not because you are not talented enough or that your brain isn't capable, it's much simpler than that. If something is too hard, you literally don't have the skills to close the gap yet. And you can't build all those skills at once because you probably don't even know what they are. So you keep pushing, but instead of progress, all you get is frustration. And eventually you give up. Because here's the real problem. To improve, you need to be in what's called the flow state. That zone where you are fully focused, engaged, and challenged just enough to stay locked in. But here is the catch. To enter that state, the thing you are working on has to be just slightly harder than your current ability. Imagine your comfort zone as a circle. If the challenge is just outside that circle, you can stretch into it. But if it's way out there, floating in space, you lose the connection and there is nothing to grab onto. That's exactly what happened with the Bonamassa lick. It wasn't a stretch, it was a leap. My technique at the time could maybe handle 140 BPM and that lick needed over 190. And pushing myself harder didn't change anything about that gap. It just wrecked me mentally. So what's the fix? It's simple. Don't throw yourself at the hardest thing you can find and hope for a miracle. Instead, you want to work on things that are just slightly outside your comfort zone. Let's say you're comfortable at 140 BPM, cool, then push it to 145, maybe 150, not 190. That's what I should have done. Or take the lick and break it into smaller parts. I could have taken just this little piece and focused on using it in my own playing. Then maybe this part and work on building speed with that without trying to put it all together. That would be a proper challenge at the time, not trying to play the whole lick at full speed. Because when you operate in your stretch zone, two things happen. Your brain stays engaged and you actually start to feel progress, which keeps you coming back. And that's the goal. Not to suffer your way through something insane, but to set up daily wins that stack into real growth. So yeah, trying to level up through pure struggle didn't work. But guess what? A few years later, I managed to find a whole new way to stall my progress. I picked one song I could almost play, and decided to grind it until it was perfect. So let's go back to lateral for a second. Myth number 2. Back then I thought I had a genius plan. Practice this one song every day until it's perfect. And for a while it actually worked. Each session felt like a little win. Cleaner notes, smoother transitions, better timing. But then something changed. The progress slowed down, the gains started shrinking. Each day it felt like a copy of the last, and eventually nothing moved. No matter how focused I was, I couldn't clean it up any further, and I couldn't understand why. It was only years later that I realized what actually happened. It's called the law of diminishing returns. Basically, the more you repeat the same thing, the less you get out of it. At first it works beautifully, but over time your brain checks out. It's like going to the gym and lifting the exact same weight every day. At first you get stronger, but eventually your body adapts and it stops doing anything. As they say in the weightlifting world, no pain, no gain. And that's exactly what happened with lateral. I was lifting the same musical weight every day, and eventually it just stopped working. The myth that kept me stuck was thinking that if I just kept repeating the same thing, I would keep getting better. And yeah, it kind of works early on. But then your progress slows, your focus fades, and the thing you used to love turns into nightmare. If you don't change it up, you hit a wall. And pushing harder doesn't break it, it just burns you out. So what's the fix? You don't need to throw that song away. You just need to stop obsessing over it. So instead of forcing lateral to be perfect, I should have started learning another fingerstyle tune that used similar techniques. Or better yet, started writing one myself. I should keep lateral in rotation, but let it improve naturally while developing those same skills in new contexts. That's what I tell my students when they are learning flat picking, for example. You don't master it with one tune. You need at least 5. We might start with Behind Blue Eyes, then move on to Fade to Black, Knocking on Heaven's Door, or Snow by Red Hot Chili Peppers. And with each new song the technique gets sharper, until suddenly that first song feels easy. So if you are feeling stuck, it's probably not about how hard you are working, but how you are practicing and what you are focusing on. These 2 myths are part of a much bigger issue that I call poor practice habits. And that's just one of the 8 core problems I see holding back intermediate players. If you want to know the rest, I put together a free guide called The 8 Blockages Killing Your Guitar Progress, and you can grab it below. It will save you a lot of wasted effort.